Fuck. Let's talk about double standards in America right now. So, for those of you who are not aware, if you've been under a rock for the last 2-3 weeks, George Floyd, an African American man, was murdered by a police officer. After he, there was a video of him, and he even said, I can't breathe, with his neck being, basically his throat being closed off by another man, the police officer's knee, and effectively killed him because of it. And now we're at a point here where protests are happening for Black Lives Matter about police brutality and the systematic racism in America right now. So let's talk about double standards now. Let's start with just protests. So the protests for Black Lives Matter have been very much been enforced with military action, even for peaceful protests. And it's quite ironic that police are fighting protesters who are protesting police brutality with more police brutality. So it's kind of really sad, ironic thing that's going on. And these are peaceful protesters, unarmed, being shot at with rubber bullets, tear gassed, pepper sprayed, kicked, shoved, hit with their fucking sticks. And even an old guy was just pushed to the ground. His head hit the fucking cement and he started bleeding on the cement, and they just walked over him. And then they tried to cover it up, saying that he had tripped, not knowing there was a video out there showing that he was very forcefully shoved and he hit the ground because of that police officer. And people are like, oh, this isn't just happening to like the black protesters. It's happening to the white protesters too. And even the journalists that are just simply trying to report the protests and what's going on. And so that's just for the protests and Black Lives Matter. Now let's shift back before George Floyd's murder. Let's go to where I live, Michigan. The protesters, initiated by President Trump himself, telling them to liberate themselves from their tyrannous governor, saying they can't go see barbers and get their lawns cared and all have to wear masks. Oh, how dare they? They were given the right to protest their white oppression. They're very much so oppressed that they went out and protest. And here's the kicker: they had guns. Yeah, peaceful protest. Bring guns, because that's what a peaceful protest is about: bringing guns. And what happened to all those protesters that were protesting their oppression of not being able to see a barber, not being able to go outside? Oh gosh, my freedom is being stripped away. Meanwhile, go forward a couple weeks, and then there's the protest for a man being murdered by a police officer. Protests about that. You can't have that. You can't be protesting against the police. You can't have black people protesting. You can't even have white people protesting about black rights. No, we can't have that. We're going to use tear gas. We're going to use military action. We are going to shoot them with rubber bullets. We're going to kick them. We're going to fucking hit them. We're going to do whatever we want. Because that's the double standard. See, when a white group of protesters start talking about how you're being oppressed, oh geez, oh God, being oppressed, I can't get my hair cut. I can't even go to the hardware store or whatever. That's okay. You can protest that, carry guns, because that's all a part of the plan. But as soon as one person actually tries to fight something that's real, that's something that's a actual fucking issue, it's fought with military action. So that's just the protesters. Okay, that's the double standards we're facing with the protesters. Now, let's go to how white people are being treated when they're being arrested. Let's go with just one example because it's so, God, it is probably one of the worst. It's the clearest example of the double standard I can see in America. That skinny, I'm not going to say his name because I don't believe that people should acknowledge murderers' names because that's what they want, is to be acknowledged and to be famous, basically, for killing people. So no, I'm not going to say his name, but we all know this skinny, blonde, piece of shit individual that killed a bunch of black people in a church. He was arrested, ultimately, after he'd already done what he wanted to do, and he had a gun. He was arrested. Was he tasered? Was he tear gassed? Was he pepper sprayed? Was he shoved? Was he at least, I don't know, manhandled like you should be treated like a fucking murderer that he is? No, he was walked out, handcuffed, like he had just stolen a candy bar or done some other petty crime. The man not only had a gun, but he had already killed people, innocent people, in that church. And here's the other side that's so... You can't even... It's so hard to compare. Like, okay, so you have that white kid, armed, killed people. Let's go to the other side. Unarmed man, black man, in a car. Doesn't have a weapon. Reaches for his wallet. And is killed because he might have a weapon. Might. Meanwhile, white person has a gun, already killed people. You don't have to use excessive force. You don't have to shoot them. You don't have to tase them. You just go in there, handcuff them, walk them out, like he did nothing. And then black person pulls out a wallet, gets killed because he is thought to have a weapon and because the police officer is scared for his life. Give me a fucking break. The double standards. And you know what? I can make. If I wanted to continue researching and give more examples out, I could. But really, I mean, how many more times do you have to see it happen before you can actually see that it is a problem, that it is not going away? Police brutality against black people has been going on ever since they've been here. Forcibly put here to be slaves. And here's the thing, America is systematically, has been, ever since the beginning, by white people, for white people. Might say all men are created equal, but what they really meant, white land-owning males were Christian. That's what they meant by all men created equal. So, we have America right now that is, it seems like going through another civil war, because we got the one side, we'll go with white Trump supporters. They can do their protests, they can even kill people, and nothing happens to them. Not even a scratch, not even a push or a shove, nothing. Meanwhile, black people, black men, simply exist and they get killed. There is no sense in it because it's not, there's no logic in racism and in police brutality. It's simply, you're trying to keep the oppressed down. And being white myself, like, it's hard for me not to see how black people are being treated. And I don't live in a majority black people neighborhood. It's in a suburb. It's I don't know, mostly white people, and it's still so evident that in America this is a problem. And then there are those who I imagine are seeing the same things I'm seeing, but aren't making that same connection. People like people that say all lives matter. They don't understand what Black Lives Matter means. Because in their head they're like, oh yeah, but all lives really matter. But are your white people being killed for no reason at an alarming rate for years upon years upon years upon years upon years? And black people, they don't have that ancestry that white people have. Like white people, a lot of their ancestors they had some of that money, because that's, in the beginning, that's what it was for: white land-owning males, mostly Christian. And if your family just so happened to be that way, you're pretty well off. And then black people, their ancestors had nothing. They had less than nothing. They didn't even have their own lives. They had no freedom. They were slaves. So they're already put at a disadvantage. They have, they don't have that voice that, you know, white people have. That's already embedded into our political system and our society. They're not, frankly, not valued at the same level as white people are in America. The whole, and this is just one little layer of a problem: double standards. White people, black people. White person has a gun, that's okay. Black person has a gun, definitely not okay. Black person may have a gun, that's bad still. I'll kill you for it. White protesters talking about their oppression, that's fine. Black people talking about their very real oppression, military force, arresting them, beating them, running them over with a fucking car. I'm so ashamed to be an American. And I'm not going to say I'm ashamed to be a white person, but I'm ashamed of other white people. The way that they're acting, the way they're treating black people, the way that they're treating this whole scenario. They're saying how, you know, Black Lives Matter is only means of destruction and all that, blah, blah, blah. It's easy to declare something bad that you have no stake in. And that's why Trump was elected, I believe. All those rural, white, poor areas. Hillary's talking about how gay rights should be more of a thing, how there should be more environmental friendly actions put in place. There should be more how minorities should be treated better. I don't know. And all the white people were just like, but that doesn't apply to me. What you saying? Well, you're gonna try to help gay people? You're trying to help black people? That doesn't help me. I'm going with Trump. He's gonna bring the coal mines back. Give me a job, because he cares about the white people. He cares about the poor. He doesn't care about the poor people. He doesn't care about, not only doesn't care about poor people, he doesn't care about poor white people. He acts like it because he wants your vote. And he's effectively brainwashed people, all those poor white trash, into voting for him, thinking, oh, he's just a straight shooter. You know, he talks like me, you know, not too many fancy words, a lot of, I can understand him, and he's white, and he's a male. So I'm going to vote for him, because America's free. You know, America was great when all those black people were on their own side of town. Now they got all mixed up. It's not great anymore. Let's go back to segregation. I don't want to see no black person in my supermarket buying no bananas. Fucking monkey. That's the way that's what they are. White supremacists. And here's the thing. If you're not a white supremacist and you're a Trump supporter, you're still holding hands with those white supremacists. If you're a Trump supporter, you're holding hands with those white supremacists. Sorry, you just are. Trump saying, oh, there's good people on both sides. You know, white supremacists being, yeah, there's good people on the white supremacist side. If you don't understand what white supremacy is, white supremacy means they think they're superior to any other race, and that all the other races should either serve them and be submissive, or should be moved away or eradicated, killed. Does that sound like a good person with good ideals? I don't think so. Doesn't make sense to me. But you know, I have a soul, so I can think as if I was another person, if I was treated some way. Black people have always had the raw deal in America. And now we're dealing with a president who's saying, let's not be nice to them, those protesters, those deplorables. Let's hurt them, let's shoot them, let's do these things to them. Because you can't be protesting. You can't be protesting about, you know, how Black Lives Matter when it's not true. That's the way. That's what it is. Trump supports white supremacy. Supports it. Maybe even, I don't know. It's not so far out of the, it's not unheard of to think, oh, maybe he is a white supremacist. There's a lot of white supremacists out there who think that all black people should be killed, should be moved, should be taken out of America, go back to Africa. They don't say it out loud because they know that other people that actually are sane are going to hear that and be like, you don't deserve to be in society if you think like that. And unfortunately, society is that way. So yeah, this hasn't just been about double standards now. At this point, I've kind of been ranting after that. But here's the thing, guys. If you're not pro Black Lives Matter right now, you're not only part of the problem, but you're not fit to be in a society where other people, other races mix. That should be harmonious. That should be at peace with each other. If we can just take all the racist people and just put them somewhere else, we would. I would. Let them live on the moon. Give them a little small town with a dome over it. Get a bunch of Confederate statues in there. 16 bars, 17 churches, 1 pharmacy. You'll be good. Just fight amongst yourselves. Because how long could that actually last? If you're a white supremacist, you should fucking die. Because, and people say like, oh, let's just try to teach them. Let's try to change those kind of people into thinking that what they're doing is wrong, because it is wrong, but there's no changing them. There's a lot of people you're never going to change. No matter how many facts you throw at them, how much, like, I've seen American History X too. And those white supremacists out there, a lot of them, they don't turn to and see the errors in their ways. And yeah, there are a few that do, but God, it's just like, you're not human at that point. If you can't see yourself as just a human like everyone else, no, you're superior, that other races are below you, that they should be killed. I don't know. I don't think there's much saving in that kind of person. Maybe there is a way to get rid of racism and white supremacy in America, but there's really I don't know. I don't think, like, you're just you're fighting an uphill battle. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't think they should all be killed, or they should all die. But living in society, they should all be locked up. They shouldn't be allowed to live free, be able to have a gun and then kill someone, like those. There's another example. Those two white people that killed that black man that was jogging in his neighborhood, killed him because they had a gun and they were free. And they had those ideals in their head already, and they killed someone. They're dangerous to society, thus should not be deemed worthy to live in society. And here's the thing, there's a lot of them out there, and people act like, oh yeah, racism is dead. And then once Trump got elected, it was like night and day difference. There were more white people that felt free to admit that they're racist. There were white people who were like yelling at Mexicans, go back to your own country. I love Trump. I love white America. It just let everything go on the surface. Instead of hiding their little white supremacy bunkers, they can roam the streets now because they got a president who's for them. They got their backs. I can only imagine what would be going on if Obama was in the White House right now during George Floyd's murder. I don't know. He would have seen it how it actually is fucked up, and how police should be, those that were involved should be held accountable. And you have a president now who's saying, he doesn't care that George Floyd was murdered. He didn't see anything wrong in it. What he sees wrong is all those people that are protesting it. That's what's wrong with America. So, I don't know. Maybe we're going to have a revolution. Maybe it's already happening. But for the meantime, stay informed, talk to people, protest peacefully, please, and stay safe. So, that's it.